Welcome back to my Darling Bride podcast, powered by Refuge and Fortress Network. My name is Emmanuel O.
And I'm Lonnie O.
On this podcast, we dig, discover, and deploy biblical gems for the building or rebuilding of kingdom homes and relationships.
Yes, we are on a mission to equip our couples to build on a rock-solid foundation,
Cultivate a culture of honor and respect.
yes, invest intentionally and consistently in your relationship.
Absolutely. Defend the union and empower one another towards purpose fulfillment.
Yes, this is where love meets legacy. Welcome to my Darling Bride podcast. All right, so we are on our third week of Get to Know Your Host.
Yes.
You guys are getting to know us as your host. Before we dive into more various questions, tackle some questions people have that can help their relationship and marriage. So this week, we are discussing family, parenting, and home life. How do we navigate that? How do we navigate parenting? How do we navigate our home life? How do we navigate family? Those are the questions we're going to be addressing today.
And those are powerful questions
Yes.
because we've talked about faith and values in our
Yes.
home. We've talked about how we met to where we're at
Yes,
now.
our journey
Our journey
to I
thus
do,
far
yeah.
to saying I do.
Let's give a background, right? About
Yes.
our family
Yes.
life. Okay, go ahead. You do that.
Okay, so first of all, thank y'all for tuning in as always. You know, for the new subscribers, we want to welcome you here. This is what we do at this on this podcast. This podcast is the marriage ministry of Refuge and Fortress Network, which is
Yes.
the umbrella ministry for everything else that we do. We also have Philia Culture, which is the community expression of RNF. We have MDB, which is the marriage ministry of RNF, and we have some other nonprofit efforts and initiatives that we do as well, both locally and internationally, that are all under the umbrella of RNF Network. So just to help you understand, because when we say, welcome back to my Darling Bride podcast, powered by Refuge and Fortress Network, some people are like, what is that? You know, so that's what that is, right?
Yeah.
Just a quick housekeeping on that. As far as our family dynamic,
What's our family
and
structure right now?
Right.
Yeah.
So we've got myself, you, of course, and we've got two babies. We've got a 7-year-old.
You got two babies?
Oh, 3 babies. Sorry. It's 3.
the last one just happened, so I was like, whoa.
So we got a 7-year-old, we've got a 5, and we've got a 7-month-old.
Yes.
Which is crazy,
I know.
right?
So we have 2 girls and a boy.
2 girls and a boy. Yes, exactly. Go ahead.
And before we even dive into a question, let's just do some quick fun. Have you always wanted to have 3 kids or more or less? How many boys? How many girls?
Are you asking me?
Yes. I'm just throwing out there like, well, based on what our structure is, this what you've always wanted, or what did you always want? Just a little fun.
As far as what I've always wanted, I would say that I would say that at first, I remember I told you I wanted only 2 kids.
Yes.
And I told you I wanted a boy and a girl.
Yes.
Right. But I think you said you wanted 3 kids.
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't mind whether it was 2 boys or 2 girls.
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Which was what did you want?
I wanted 2 boys and a girl.
You wanted 2 boys and a girl.
There's a reason for it, because in my family, it was 2 boys and a girl.
So you were the only girl.
I'm the only girl. I'm the last girl. So I wanted kind of the same structure.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
You didn't feel like you instead you would want 2 girls? Because I thought you told me you wanted 2 girls.
No, I've always.
You didn't have a sister growing up.
Yeah, I've always, I didn't have a sister growing up, and you would think that I would want like the same, but for whatever reason I just felt like I wanted the same thing in a way, because it was good, like, you know what I'm saying, being the only girl, the baby, I was spoiled rotten. I had like privileges they didn't have, so in my head, and I think it's just normal to just want to pick up the same thing you've seen. So in my head, I'm like, 2 boys and a girl, you know what I'm saying. I wanted a boy first too initially, but then God is like, you just keep talking, you just yapping.
It's interesting. So when it comes to having a boy first or a girl first, that's always a very interesting dynamic to me.
Yeah.
Because I think differently on that note. I actually wanted a girl first,
yep.
Right? Because the boys are men, they're growing up to become men, and they're growing up to become independent, and they're growing up to leave the house. You know what I'm saying? And so there's that thing of, I'ma just do my thing, and everybody else is doing their thing in the house, right? But when you have a buffer, between the parent and the eldest child, who is also like a mini mom in the house, you kind of can't just be on your own kind of thing. And because you have a level of authority beyond that's, before your parents, you the way you move is a little different. As opposed to if you were the only boy and the first boy. It's like, can't nobody tell you nothing.
Nobody can tell you nothing.
Nobody
I
can,
mean, as it stands, nobody can tell our boy nothing. He's the second boy.
Exactly. He thinks he's the first, but again, there's that level of listen to your sister kind of thing, because he needs that. I think boys needs that. And
I actually, like I said, that was what I initially wanted. But with the way God structured it, for those that are curious, so we have a girl first, then our boys second, and then we have a baby girl last. And I'm actually glad, because when you hear that God knows best, He really does. I'm actually glad at the structure and the way He set that up, because having the girl first, I see so much value and so much needed aspect of it, because the amount of help, first of all, I get, being the fact that my firstborn is a girl, is massive. Like, she's so sharp, she's so smart, so it's very easy for her to pick up things, and she's so helpful, and it's made my life easier. I won't think about it from that aspect because I didn't see it or I didn't understand it, but now it's like, man, I'm so glad this is what God did. You know what I'm saying? And then, like you said, that buffer is there because it helps, and I feel like it's a good structure as well, at least for us.
And just in general, I feel like the girl child are just more responsible. They're more,
and then having them as the firstborn, it's just like
a plus. They listen more. They're more responsible. They're matured. Women mature faster than men anyway. So to have that,
it helps the
siblings as well.
Okay, let's not talk too much, because we're gonna even talk about our training and what we instill in them. But let's even dive in back to the first question, right? How has becoming parents changed our marriage? Has it changed our marriage? If it does, how?
Well, can we say it has changed our marriage? Because we became parents right after we got married. So there wasn't really much of a gap to be able to tell the difference between married life and parenting life. I mean, we had about a year of married life, right? So the better comparison would be, how has being parents affected our relationship in general? Counting the days of dating into the first year of marriage. Because
we had kids right away.
Or thereabouts, you know what I'm saying? So, because we had kids right away. I think, as far as how it has affected or changed things, I would just say that it has made us more attentive. It has made us sharper. It has made us I wouldn't say more responsible, because we were responsible, but you have 10 senses. You're on high alert. Almost all the time. Because it's not just about you, it's about them,
and that affects everything,
and that affects your
marriage.
Everything. Like, for example, when we were dating, even let's look at the first year of being married, right? We're just transitioned from dating to being married, so we're still very much so living dating phase, if you will. And so if you didn't eat before, you could just go out and grab something to eat. If you didn't eat before, you can just ordering or something like that. Or if you didn't eat breakfast and you didn't eat till dinner, it's probably fine again, because you're all right, you ate, okay, cool, let's grab something when we get back home, something like that, right? It's nothing. You can just fly by and just do life,
just move by the wind.
Exactly. And if you didn't cook for a whole week, it's not that big of a deal, because it's just the two of us, and we'll figure it out. But now you have kids in the picture. They will tell you, I'm hungry. Even if you weren't hungry, you have to go make food now because somebody else is hungry. You know what I mean? So, and then it puts you in high alert, where you're not just looking for your own well-being, you're looking for their well-being.
Yeah.
Primarily, first and foremost, are y'all good?
Yeah.
Then once you guys are sorted,
Yeah.
then I can sort myself out.
Exactly.
I mean, think about this morning. We were getting ready for a program that we had to go to. The kids were coming with us and things like that. And the first thing we did, well, I was in the bathroom. I was, cutting my hair and things like that. And that takes some time and things like that.
Yeah.
But my wife was showering the first one, showered the second one,
showered
the third one,
Yeah.
went upstairs, got them dressed, got
Yeah.
them lotioned, put food on the table for them, put their tablet in front of them, have them watching and distracted and things like that. And then went to take care of herself while I'm doing all the other things, I'm ironing and things like that.
Yeah.
So that is really what happens.
That's the picture.
That's the picture.
That's
right
the
there.
picture, because
they come first.
Exactly.
And if you're not used to that, that can take you aback.
That could take you aback.
If you want to always put yourself first in everything, it may frustrate you a little bit, because now you're forced to put somebody else in front of you.
And the other thing I wanted to add to that, to kind of add to what you just said, that kind of made us or pushed us to have to be intentional about ourselves too. Because when you're focused on the kids, you have to take care of the kids, you have to put the kids first. It's very easy to kind of just put this at the back burner.
Yeah.
So it pushed us to be intentional about what we do as a couple. Let me tell you something. When you have kids, for real, it just happens. It's not a thing where it's like, well, I just don't care. I'm just gonna I don't know. I'm speaking for myself. I can't fathom or think about having kids or even living it and not being able to put my kids first. It's just what comes to. We wake up the first day after the kids eating before we even think about eating. Have the kids done this before it just comes natural. So that dynamic, that change is gonna happen. Does it change the marriage? Absolutely. Now, what that looks like looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
So it forced us to have to be intentional about what we do with each other.
Yeah.
We know we have to take care of the kids. We have to make sure they're good. But at the same time, we have to take care of this as well. We have to make sure we're good as well. Because once this starts to be not good, it's going to affect that too.
Yeah.
So it forced us to be intentional about the things we're doing in our marriage.
Yeah. I would also say that another thing is done for me personally is change the way I think about the future. Like the way I move, the things that I do is more so about securing their future now. It's not just doing for doing sake. I'm thinking legacy. I'm thinking, what are we going to leave behind for these ones, right? I'm thinking not only am I putting them first, I'm also thinking beyond myself. I'm thinking for days where I'm not here anymore, right? What are they going to do? How are they going to move? And just securing their future as best I possibly can.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just part of what happens once you become a parent.
Yeah.
It's just... And then it changes your mentality. The reasons why you do things, right? You're doing it for them.
Yeah.
The reason why you go to work is because of them.
Yeah.
The reason why you want to have a good relationship is because of them.
Exactly.
The reason why you want to have a good home is because of them. The reason, you do almost everything because of them, right? And the reason why that is the mentality to have is because God has trusted us with these little ones.
Yes.
And we have a responsibility to steward properly, to be godly parents, godly parents, and instill godly values and show godly things for them to pick up on and leave godly legacies, right? So when God gives you things, he expects stewardship, proper stewardship. And so I would say, to sum it up for me, it's changed my perspective sort of, and it put me in a posture of servitude.
Yeah.
Like I'm serving God by serving them. That may be hard for some people to chew what I just said. I'm not serving my kids. I'm serving God, but it's a service. It's an act of service to them.
Yeah.
And so when you can do an act of service to your kids, it makes it easy for you to do it to other people outside. If that makes sense.
And you made a point just now. You said a statement. You said I don't know how you said it, but almost like insinuating that they're watching, right? Yes. You had to change. And it's interesting because it just made me think about it too, because that changed also in the way we relate with each other. Kids soak up everything. They're sponges. They're sponges. They watch and they observe. They might not say, it's not even in what you're saying to them, it's what you do. Like we be saying it, our first daughter, she sit there quietly. You look at her, you think she's watching TV or she's watching a tablet or she's doing something else or painting or whatever, and maybe you're on the side arguing, she's hearing everything. She would come back and be like, what happened? There are times where we're even play fighting. We're play arguing or play fighting. And our son will come up like, why are you guys arguing? And we're like, we're just playing. You know what I'm saying? So we're careful with how we interact with each other as well, in terms of how it changed our marriage. Without kids, it's just us. When it's just us, we really could do anything we want to do without having to observe or pay attention to what's happening around us or who's watching. But when you have kids there, they soak up everything. The way you talk to each other, the way you respect each other, the way you honor each other. They see how we relate, so therefore they're gonna pick it up. So therefore it changed how we navigate our marriage as well.
Essentially saying that we don't live life loosely.
No,
we don't. We
can't
tighten
it up.
You know what I'm saying?
Because we want to make sure they picking up the right things.
Like you can't go out and stay out.
Yeah.
You gotta come home at some point. You got somebody waiting for you. You know what I mean? So
literally
it changes the whole thing. So let me ask you this though. How would you say, like, how do we balance marriage, parenting, with personal time? How do we balance all of that, right?
Okay.
Marriage, parenting, personal time, even ministry. How do you balance all that?
Our home life.
Yeah. How do we balance?
How do we balance it?
Yeah.
So for us, I feel like we've put a structure in place.
Okay, so that's number one. Put a structure in place.
You have to put a structure in place. You have to put a system, because it can get chaotic quick. And because
it can get overwhelming.
Yeah, overwhelming. It could get very overwhelming. Absolutely. Because
emphasis on the very.
Because I just when you said that word, I just thought about days where it's like, maybe there's one day where I kind of went out of structure a little bit, and boy, I was like,
it throws things off.
So you gotta put a structure in place. I feel like we have a structure now that we and mind you, it's not an overnight thing. This is years of perfecting away the structure that works for us. And I feel like that has helped us balance things out. We know what time we wake up, what the kids need at this time, what they need at that time. They're in school now, so when they're in school, we're able to get other things done. If we're working or we're not working, there's times where the kids are in school. This is even before we had our third child, right? Because that became a different kind of structure. We had to, with every kid, you have to kind of restructure and kind of move things around, because now you have multiple kids. But before she was here, when the kids are in school, we had time while we're working, while we have some time to move around. We had time to go around and get this done, get that done, spend time together. So we structured our life in a way where we're able to kind of, still check all the boxes of what's important in this marriage, while at the same time making sure things are not falling through the crack. Now, when we had our third child, we had to move things around a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I remember there was one time recently where we had an appointment we had to go to, and it was like we both had to be there. And now we have this baby girl. Our two oldest are in school, but we have baby girl so we had to get her into a babysitter, because it's like we both have to be there. We have to figure it out. So we've kind of just structured our life in a way where we made sure that everybody is covered. We've covered all the bases. So I feel like the structure is what's really helped us. In that structure, we have time where we spend with each other. There's times where it's like we want some quiet time to ourselves. We say, Wenu Duni Kita, here, take your baby sister. You guys go in the playpen where it's covered and we know you guys are good and secure there. Go in there, play, have a good time, and we're spending time together. Chilling, watching a movie, talking, and we're spending quality time together. But we've just created that structure in that way where we're able to kind of navigate those different aspects of our lives, And I feel like we found a good balance on how we do it with work, with ministry. For example, the time we record, we go out, we do, we've put a structure in place that kind of just helps us prioritize things at the right time.
So we have a structure in place. We have prioritization in place. Another thing that I would say we also have in place in terms of balancing parenting, marriage,
Home
and
life.
personal life too is we have, I don't want to say boundaries, but we have lines, right? We have boxes where we put things.
Okay.
Like we have our parenting boxes, we have our marital box, we have our personal box. And we, as much as they do overlap, we try to demarcate, to separate them as much as possible. And what I mean by that is there is being parent, and then there is being my wife. There has been a mother, and then there's been a father,
Yeah.
and then there is being my husband or my
Yeah.
wife. You know what I'm saying? You kind of just need to know when the mother needs to come out versus when the wife needs to come out. You want to know when the father needs to come out and then when the husband needs to come out, because we tend to intertwine those things sometimes and it causes friction. You know, for example, when I want to discipline my kids, I will speak very firmly and sternly to them to let them understand that I'm not playing and I need you to do what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
I need to remember when I'm also talking to my wife now that she's not my daughter, right? So the tone changes a little bit, right? The approach changes a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of balancing is what we're saying now. And then when it comes to personal time too, we are intentional about creating those times. I remember you had a girls' night out by yourself. I mean, it wasn't a girls' night out, ladies connect. We had a ladies connect. It was one program in the month. What month was that? February or March?
Last month.
Right. That you went to. It was just the ladies, right? Myself and the kids were home, and all three of us were by ourselves. I made it a point not to text or call my wife, not to ask her where's this, where's that, where's cream, where's lotion, where is food,
where's everything. You just figured it out.
You know what I'm saying? I made it a point not to have her physically there, but mentally checked out, because I'm checking on her over and over and over again. I'm not allowing her to enjoy personal time, because that's essentially what that was. You know what I mean? So by being intentional in creating those times, because like you said, if you don't have structure in place, things get all jumbled up, right? And life happens to you rather than you making life happen. So in making life happen, you put structure in place, and you're intentional about creating time to allow those things to function. Creating time as husband and wives, like you mentioned, kids go upstairs, daddy and mommy want to have alone time, because we want to have alone time. You're not going to stop that, obviously. You know what I mean? So go upstairs. Thank God they're at the point that they can go upstairs,
exactly.
And again, when they're not yet at that point, it's the sacrifice. It's the sacrifice of, babe, you know, I am naturally a person who would say, let's spend time together, let's do this, but right now this baby needs us. And so let's put the husband and wife to the side for now and be parents, be fathers and mothers. even if it takes months, sometimes it takes years. Sometimes your entire mind is about this child. And the only thing we can see right now is being parents, and that's all right too. The reason why I want to say that is because I don't want people feeling like they're failing in one side because they're succeeding or excelling in the other side. And then make you feel bad about that. Because it's very possible that right now in this season, you have to be this thing and this person. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person because this other thing is failing. It's just right now.
And to kind of pick it, I think the important thing to understand in that aspect is the communication and the understanding between
the shared understanding
you and your spouse. Because if you're on the same page, then it wouldn't feel like you're failing, because you guys are on a mission together to get something done.
And that was go ahead. I was gonna say that was my last point. My last point was gonna be being on the same page with everything. You know, on the same page, so that when my wife doesn't have time for me, I'm not thinking she doesn't have time for me. I know the reason why we're kind of lacking on this area. When we haven't had time for personal, like for me, personal time, what is that? I don't even know what that means anymore. You know what I mean? And that's fine. That's part of the sacrifice of being a father, right? So if I'm not being a father, I'm being a husband. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not being that, I'm being a pastor. If I'm not doing that, I'm preaching. If I'm not doing that, there's always something going on that I almost come last. I don't have time for personal me time. You understand what I'm saying? And that's fine, because we're in a building stage right now. There's no time for personal stuff. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not going to stop my wife from taking personal time if she needs it. And if she comes to me and say, babe, you're working too much,
take some time.
I think you need to take some time.
I got it. Don't
you know
worry.
what I'm saying? I may take a day or two, whatever, to just have that time to myself and just, zen moments and everything, rejuvenate. But at the same time, again, communication.
Exactly.
Being on the same page.
Exactly.
And because remember, this even happened when we were building the business. I literally had no time.
Yeah.
Leave the house very early in the morning. 4 a.m. in the morning. Didn't get back home till later at 12 at night.
Yeah.
The next morning, I'm leaving again at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm out there. Maybe I get back home today at 10 p.m. I'm out again by 4. And this went on for months.
Yeah.
So my wife could have been like, you're working too much. You don't have time for me.
Yeah.
You don't take care of us. You're not romantic anymore. You're not this, you're not that, blah, blah. But no, she didn't do none of that, because she understood, right, what stage we're in.
Exactly.
She understood.
From transparency and communication.
You know what I'm saying? From transparency and communication. And then it'll be very dumb of me to then, you're not homo, but you're going to call your wife and say, did you make dinner? Did you make food? Because, you know what I'm saying? Are you home to eat the food?
There was understanding on both ends.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Very great understanding. Before. Go ahead.
I get with you. Now that actually leads me to the next question, right?
Yeah.
In the terms of how do we support each other in our role as parents?
Hey,
that's a good one. How do we support each other in our role as parents?
How do we support each other in our role as parents?
Yes.
The way I could answer that question is by saying we intermingle the role as much as possible.
Right.
In other words, there is no this is what a woman is supposed to do. This is what a man is supposed to do. Like, as much as possible. Like, I cook, so do you. I clean. Yeah. So do you.
Yeah.
I take out the trash.
Exactly.
So do you.
Yeah.
Like, all the things that you would say only a man should do this, or only a woman should do this.
Exactly.
We don't have that necessarily. We look at what needs to be done and we just get it done. Whoever is available to do it, do it. Or whoever is best to do it, do it. Like, for example, sometimes, like, if the child is crying, say for example, my wife is in the kitchen. Our little baby is crying, right? I could get up, carry her, comfort her, and make sure she's not crying anymore while my wife is in the kitchen. But there are times when she needs boobies. She don't need nothing else. She wants to be comforted by breasts. Amen. You know what I'm saying? So
it's a natural thing.
Right. So, and I can't give
breast
that.
Milk.
I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I can't give that.
You can't give that.
So what happens? Do you stop whatever you're doing in the kitchen and take 30 minutes to an hour to console this crying baby?
Right.
Or do we switch?
Switch roles. Exactly.
Do I go in the kitchen, continue wherever you left off, and you go comfort this child?
Exactly. Yep.
So that's more so what happens with us.
Yeah.
That doesn't stop. I switch over. I go in the kitchen, you go handle the baby.
Yeah.
Once you're done with the baby, you can come back in the kitchen and continue. You follow what I'm saying?
And that I like how you said that, because that really happens with everything. Like, even with discipline the kids too. There are times where he's the stricter parent on them, meaning like it's on them, period. And I give the soft, like, we balance each other when that aspect comes. I give the softer part. There are times where I'm even the stricter one and he gives the softer side, because, you know, for some people's structure, they have one parent that's the strict one and that's it, and one parent. But for, you know, just in how we deal with them and how we raise them, we've managed to intertwine that as well. But we always balance each other. when it comes to that. And we balance each other with everything. If you're here and I'm here and we need to kind of offset each other, we're able to figure it out, and vice versa. Like, we've just figured out a way to kind of, like you said, intertwine our roles in a way where we're not leaving each other to just hang dry. We're actually helping and supporting each other. Yeah.
I think that's the only way that I can explain that. So what value would you say we're trying to instill in our kids? Like, right? What
values? I mean, first of all, biblical values. We could just start there. God, everything God. We not only just teach it, we show it too. When we're praying, they're there, they see it. I mean, you see, even our baby girl now, every time we're closing the prayer, the minute we say amen, amen, she's like, we say hallelujah, she's like just because she sees us do it every single day. So we instill biblical values. We instill God, knowing who God is, who's God, what he is to us, what are the values of God, what is important. Don't lie, speak the truth at all times because it's biblical, because lying is a sin, things like that. So we instill the things of God in them. That is very important for us.
And the reason I asked that question, great answer by the way, the reason I answered that question is because of what we were saying, how the roles are coming. There are no role definition in this house. Of course, there are things a father would do, there are things a husband would do, but when it comes to the question you asked, right, we support and we help each other. We carry the home together.
Exactly.
The reason why I'm asking that, as far as to what value are we looking to instill in the kids, is because what I just explained is not the norm. You understand what I'm saying? It's not norm. It doesn't fall into societal definition of what a man is supposed to do and what a woman is supposed to do.
Absolutely.
You follow what I'm saying? I've seen women that would literally let the trash overflow over and over and over again. They wouldn't touch it because
it's not their job to take out the trash.
It's not their job to do. If this man is not going to do it, it's not going to get done because he has to do it. I've seen men leave the dishes in the kitchen for days because that's not my job. That's my wife's job. If she doesn't do it, it doesn't get done. Again, like, you know what I'm saying? So when we talk about values that we're trying to instill in the kids, too, that's one of them, whereby we want them to watch and learn. Watch and see what's going on in your household. Watch daddy and mommy, see what they're doing, so that you can understand that we're not going based on what society says. We're doing what needs to be done in the house to ensure we have a home, not just a house.
The help of God.
With the help of God.
Absolutely.
So values that we're instilling in them is, forget all this role thing. Do what needs to be done. A man handles business. I've seen pastors that are in the kitchen cooking, not just for their family, but for the entire church. And at the same time, I've seen pastors who say, I'm a pastor of this congregation, I'm never stepping a foot in the kitchen. Which one do you want to be? It's up to you.
It's up to you.
And guess what? The congregation have more honor, respect, high value, high sense of worth for the one who goes in the kitchen to cook for the church, because it's service. It's service. And so, like Jesus, we're not here to be served, we're here to serve.
Exactly.
And so if you're a man and you're thinking your wife is supposed to serve you, your kids are supposed to serve you, and everybody else around you is supposed to serve you, and you just a king, don't serve nobody, don't do nothing, you're lying to yourself. That's not what leadership is all about. Leadership is service first and foremost. It's called servant leadership. That's what it is first and foremost. And if you're not willing to serve, you may not necessarily be served. And if people are serving you, it wouldn't be out of respect. It'll be by force. It wouldn't be out of reverence. It'd be by force. It'd be because they have to. And so as far as values are concerned, biblical values for sure, learn to question and challenge societal norms. Like what a man is supposed to do, what a woman is. Look at it and say what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and then make a judgment call for yourself based on that, right? Exactly. Another value we're trying to instill, and I'm doing that with my son right now, again, service. So biblical, question the norm and have a heart of service. Don't be looking for everything to be done for you.
For you, yeah.
Do things for people.
Other people as well.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Serve. Even before your mom asks you to do it, before I ask you, before your brothers, your sisters, or whatever, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the sign of leadership. As a man, you're a leader, and so are your sisters, but I'm raising you particularly to be a leader of a home.
Yeah, the training
and
is
how you do that is first and foremost by having a heart of service.
Yeah.
There is nothing in this world that I'm not willing to do for my family.
Yeah.
My wife, my kids, even those things that they say are women's responsibility. You know, I will carry my child on my back if I have to.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I've done it.
I've done it. Because she's crying and she needs to be comforted, I put her on my chest. I strap her up on my chest and say, girl, you'll be all right. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That you just got to be able to know how to instill these values in the kids. What other value would you say we're instilling in them?
Honor, respect.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And that's based on what they see us do with each other as well. You know, what does respect look like? What does honor look like? You know, if there's something that needs to be done, and there's times where
the value of a good home.
There's times where they want to do something, and I say, okay, fine, do it. And the dad comes and says, don't do it. And they're like, but mommy said it. And I look at them and say, but what did daddy say? My daddy says, don't do it, don't do it. You know, my daughter, she questions things, she asks things, and we leave room for her to do that so she can understand it. And I tell her, once daddy says it, that's it. It's final. Yeah. That's instilling honor, you know. All right. So the next question I was going to ask is, what lessons from our childhood, or your childhood, my childhood, what lessons do you want to apply in your parenting, instill in your children? What lessons do you want to apply, or what lessons do you want to avoid when it comes to
lessons from childhood?
From our childhoods, yeah.
That we want to apply or avoid.
In our lives.
In our lives. Well, I would say one of them was the fact that our parents, at least my parents, instilled going to church. Like, whether you want to or not, whether you like to or not, just go. Just go. I feel like that did something for me.
Yeah.
It did something for me. So just forcing me, making sure that we went no matter what, I think that did something for me, number one. So we want to do the same thing. I would want us to do the same thing with our kids too. But another thing that I would also say is, I would want from childhood, talking about, right? I grew up a very, very quiet person. I was so quiet, people thought that there was something wrong with me, because I was very gentle. I barely spoke. I kept to myself a lot. And that meant that people tried to bully me and things like that growing up. Not bully in the sense that they would beat me up or anything like that, but it was almost like, oh, he's too quiet, don't talk to him, kind of thing. They would just push me to the side.
They thought you were a pushover.
They thought I was a pushover. You got it. So and I mean, golly, you know, so boy, were they wrong, right? So but I would say that, and I was quiet that way because my upbringing put me in a position where I didn't trust easily. Yeah. And that meant I created a gap between me and everybody else. I didn't trust people. Yeah. Because of how I grew up, the moving around from one household to another household and things like that, growing up from one city to another city. Like, I was just all over the place growing up. And so I was never anywhere long enough to develop any kind of emotional attachment to anyone. And so as a child growing up, you got to understand what it does to the psyche of a child. So it just puts you in a place where you're just zoned in your own world. You're on your tablets, if you have a tablet at that age, whatever equivalent of a tablet would be back then. But you're in your own world, and you're very quiet. You don't talk, you don't say anything, right? And that passed the wrong message to some people. Yeah. They thought that the man was a pushover. Yeah. Obviously not, right? Yeah. But for my child, I would want them to be able to speak up and defend themselves. Yeah. Because this word is wicked. Yes. And I say that with every sense of the word wicked. This word can be very
Absolutely.
cruel.
Absolutely.
And so I don't want my kids to be pushovers.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want them to, in the name of being kind or being nice,
Yeah.
allow themselves to be mistreated, misunderstood, misjudged,
Yeah.
or misrepresented.
Mhm.
Mistreated, misunderstood, misjudged, or misrepresented.
Yeah.
And nobody is going to represent you better than yourself. So you need to learn how to speak up. You need to learn how to be confident. You need to learn how to defend yourself.
Yeah.
You know, how to defend yourself and how to use your mouth to tell your own story. So that people don't create false narratives about you
Yeah.
and just kind of run with that, right?
Yeah.
I would want them to sharpen up in that regard.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And my answer to that question kind of ties with yours as well, and kind of just picking it from there is we were intentional about that, you know. With our first child, she's such a loving,
very
person.
kind.
Oh my God, she's so sweet. She's such a big heart, too kind sometimes. And growing, she's still growing up, but when she was much younger, she kind of let things slide. Like she would just let things be okay, you know. It would upset her, but she wouldn't speak up. And we got intentional with her. It's like, listen, there's a difference between this and that. There's a difference between speaking for yourself and being confident and being able to defend yourself and just being arrogant. There's a big difference. You have to learn how to do this. And now we have to be like, relax. Because now she don't take none of that nonsense. She doesn't have time. Like, she will speak up, like, and she's a persistent person. Once she says it and you're not listening, she's gonna keep saying it. So we were intentional about that with her.
She can't be bullied.
No, she cannot be bullied. Our second child can't even be bullied. You can't even mess with him. Don't even think about it, because he has his father's blood inside of him. So, but we were intentional about that because it's very important. Like you said, this world,
cruel world,
very important. And to tie to that, my answer in that was, my mom made herself available to me in everything. Whatever thing I had, whatever question I had, whatever it is, I could go to her. I want to do the same for my kids. You know, they understand the difference between this is mom and mom is talking to you.
Yeah.
But it's not, I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
I never mistake that thing of saying I'm my kid's friend. I'm not their friend. I'm your mother. But as your mother, I can discipline you. I can tell you and direct you firmly, but at the same time, I can be there for you. Being there for you doesn't mean I'm your friend, because then you start getting things twisted.
And I don't have to be your friend to be friendly with you.
No, I don't. You know? So I'm your mother already. It embodies all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm everything I can be to you. So you have all that in me. But, you know, I'm your mother. Don't get that twisted. Because some parents do that. We're like, I want to be my kid's friend. I'm not your friend. Nope. But I am available whenever. And I make sure that, especially with our first child, you know, we always talk about our first child because that's the first. The others copy her. The others look to her for direction. They see what I mean. It's so much so that this is just even a funny one, but we ask them, guys, what do you want to eat? My girl would tell me straight up. She knows what she wants. This is what I want. You ask my boy, he'd be like, Wenu's our first child's name. Wenu, what did Wenu say? You'd be like, what did Wenu say? Or what do I want? Because they follow each other. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So we always on her like, listen, you're the firstborn. You gotta lead by example. So I want to make sure she's able, or he is able, to come to me and our baby girl. They're able to come to us and talk to us about anything. And when I tell you, our kids, they tell us everything. They tell us everything. Yeah. So just in as much as we discipline, we train them, we raise them, we also make ourselves available for them, where they could come to us about anything. Ask us any questions. They're not going to be judged. They're not going to be, whatever it is, come to us and we could direct you if that's good or that's not good. My daughter asked me something the other day. I'm not going to say it out loud, but she asked me a question and I told her, she was like, is that bad? I'm like, yes, it's bad. Don't I'm like, why? And then I started asking her questions to try to understand the train of thought of where it came from. What made you think about that? What made you ask that? What made you want to have a conversation about that? And she started to tell me, well, this was that and that happened, and then this person said this. I'm like, okay, I get it. I was like, yeah, that's not good. So it's like, don't do it. And then she would ask me a follow-up question. I'm like, no, you could do whatever it is you want to do, but this thing is not good, so don't do it. And she's like, okay. And that was it. But if I didn't allow her to be comfortable enough to come to me, she wouldn't automatically, she knew it was bad, because wherever she was having a conversation with about that thing already told her it wasn't good. But she didn't understand why. It's not even a crazy thing, but she didn't understand why. It was about a curse word, but she didn't understand why. So she felt like, you know what, let me ask mommy, maybe she'll be able to explain it better to me. So coming to me, asking me, I was able to break it down and let her understand, like, this is why. So, but that's what one of the things I felt like I wanted to do is not to mistake it as I'm your friend, but to let you know I'm here. I'm your mama. I will always be here for you. I would, what's that saying they always say when they say they would do above and beyond? Like, I know you're trying to figure out what I'm trying to say. Your head keeps going.
I'm trying to help you. Like, can I help you with it?
In so many words, just pretty much saying I would do anything for you.
Yeah.
I want my kids to know that, and I got that from my parents, and I feel like that's something growing up that I definitely wanted to apply today.
I think that's a really good one, because it's. I think at the very least, one of the parents should have that open relationship with the kids. I don't think I'm that guy. I don't think I'm the one that they can come to and talk to.
I think naturally, even so, naturally, a lot of kids go to their mom.
Yeah,
it's natural.
Yeah,
my dad, I can never go to my dad and ask him because you always look at your dad as you have a picture of who the father is. You understand what I'm saying? So who you're more comfortable having that conversation with is usually the mom, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as you have that balance in the house. I think it's fine.
Yeah. All right, so let's close on this question. I'm gonna ask you this question.
You're gonna ask me? I feel like I've been asking you all.
I know, right? This is your episode today.
I know, right?
This is you
I came to interview you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Parenting. Okay, that's beautiful. I get it. If we had time, I would have said we should talk about what are some fun traditions that we do.
Fun traditions
that we do as a family.
Okay, so we started doing this now. Every Sunday, we eat a meal together.
We didn't just start doing that.
Not started. Doing this. No, when I say started, I mean like we never used to do that like a couple years ago. That's what I'm saying. We started doing it.
At least we started doing this
maybe like 3 years ago.
3-4 years.
Right.
Ago.
So that's recent.
Is that recent?
To me, it is.
Oh wow, 3 years.
Maybe I'm thinking about
3-year-old baby's walking now.
But the tradition we do now is we eat together on Sundays. Not to say that we don't eat together other days. I mean, we always eat together every time. I mean, regardless, every single day we eat together. We make it a point to do that with each other. But with the kids, we sit down, like sometimes during the week, we just tell them, take your food, go watch a TV. We're watching something and we're hanging out together. But on Sundays, we have Sunday dinner, Sunday lunch together. Yeah. The kids are sitting with us. We're sitting, and if we're watching something, we're watching something family friendly because we want to have that time, that tradition with each other. Yeah. So that's one.
And that is their opportunity to share with us, talk to
laugh,
us, laugh, and see the funny side of daddy.
Yeah, because the things they be saying is like, what?
Yeah, just have openness. Yeah. A round table conversation. So how was your week? What did you learn? What are you doing? How was church? What are you gonna do this week? Right. So we talk to them, right?
And this is something we want to keep doing even when they get older.
Much older.
They're in college or they're away, they come back home and it's like Sunday dinner. Come on, I love that. It's really nice.
It's just one tradition that we do. Another thing that we do is we go out as often as we can.
Mostly on
when
weekends.
The time would allow it, right?
Yeah.
To the point that the kids will ask us where we're going this weekend. Yeah. They're not even asking, are we? They're saying, where are we going? Right? Because
on Saturdays, it's like
that family time is so important.
Yeah.
And you can never get too busy that you don't have time for your family. You can never get too busy that you don't have time for your kids, you
Yeah.
can never get too busy that your kids do not know you. Right? They see you, but they don't know you because they don't know how you respond to things. They don't know your reaction to things.
Yeah.
They don't know what you talk like, what you sound like. They don't know when you're happy, when you're sad,
Yeah.
when you're playful, or when you're
not
being serious.
Yeah. You're kind of
They
like
don't know you
distance from them
because you're distant. Not to say you're not there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can be somewhere and still be very distant, right?
Exactly.
And so one thing we do intentionally as a parent is we try to be present parents.
Yes.
I am a present father. My wife is a present mother. We try to be present couples. I'm a present husband. My wife is a present wife, right? Intentionally being present in the physical states. Wherever you are is where you're at. And if you're not going to be here, go be wherever you want to be, right? So that's the kind of mentality we have.
Yeah.
And so we especially me, I make it a point to be here. Like, especially on days when I'm not working or traveling, I'm home.
You're home.
I will pick up the kids with my wife. I will drive them, and then rather than coming straight home, we'll probably go and grab some ice cream, get some donut. I spend time intentionally with the kids. Intentionally.
Yeah. And then one more we could say, I mean, I just said donut Friday. That's another one.
That's another one.
We have like donut Fridays where we get donuts for them.
It's a tradition. I'm going to close on this. Parents out there, if you're listening, maybe you're a parent right now, you want to be a parent someday, and you're listening to this and you're being blessed by this, please first and foremost, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't.
Yes.
And share this with somebody that you believe will be blessed by it. The last nugget that I'm going to share on tonight is this. Whatever you want to instill in your kids, first and foremost, know this: it is your responsibility to instill something in them.
Yeah.
Bible says, train up a child in the way that they should go, so that they would not depart from it. It's telling you, as the parents, you have first dibs.
The responsibility.
You have first dibs to train a child. It'll be hard to switch from your training when they get out there in the world. So there are multiple places where they get training from, but your training is the primary training. Now, social media, teachers, pastors, everybody else out there has to do a work of switching whatever you've taught them at home. So if you teach them something good and they learn something good outside, even better. It adds to what you're already teaching them.
Yeah.
If you teach them something good and they learn something bad outside, it'll be hard and difficult to switch over because what you're instilling in them is the primary source, is the foundation, is the first thing that they have to build on.
Yeah.
And if you're teaching them something bad and they're learning something good outside, again, very difficult to switch that thing.
Yeah.
Because what they're already used to is what you've primarily instilled in them. Very, very important. And then number two, I would say, be cautious and be aware of yourself and your surroundings, and make it a point to show than tell. Like, for example, my kids many times will come into my closet in the morning to come and say good morning or whatever, and they will see me praying. And they run back to their mom and say, Mom, I couldn't say good morning to Daddy because he's praying. You follow what I'm saying? And usually, at first, I want to close my door and make sure they don't see me. But then I'm like, it's good for them to see. It's good for them to see. They see their dad on his knees praying. It does something to their psyche, because kids tend to see their father as a hero and somebody that's not human.
It tells them it's important.
You know what I'm saying?
Daddy's doing
but when they see Daddy on his knees, humbly praying to a father, they're like, man, okay, if Dad can do it, I got to do it too.
Exactly.
They see myself and my wife playing around and laughing. Sometimes I'll be in the kitchen. I smack my wife's butt so joyfully and happily. Did you hear what I said? I smack her butt. Like, as a pastor, I do it and I do it and I do it joyfully. I'm not ashamed of it. What did I say? I smack her butt. Amen.
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 So, and they see that. They see that. And my wife turns around and says, we play. We joke around. It's part of it. I want them to see that. And then when we're talking about finances,
good dynamic.
We're talking about our budgeting and things like that. They see that. They may not understand what we're talking about, but they see that we're talking about something important. It's important for them to get a visual on all these things.
Yeah.
It's part of the
It shapes them.
unspoken value
Yeah.
that you're putting in them.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say, I want to train this child to learn how to do A, B, C, and D.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, they may get it because you keep instilling it, you keep forcing them, you keep training them. They may get it, and they may not even get that. Because if you're trying to tell your child, don't drink, but then you are a drinker.
They'll do it in that moment because you're telling them not to do
You
it.
know,
But when they're free,
you know,
they'll do it because they
eat
saw
your
you do it.
vegetables and eat your greens, but then you don't. Okay, I'll eat it right now. No, honestly, I have to say that because
I'm just
we talk
messing
about
around.
vegetables. You don't eat vegetables.
I
You don't
eat
eat no
vegetables.
greens, right?
No,
And if you
but
notice,
I force them
but here
to.
it is,
I
here
try
it
to
is, here it
force
is, here it
them
is.
to.
Though.
Yeah.
If you notice early on in our relationship, you would tell our first child, Ella, you would tell her, hey, eat your vegetables. She didn't mind. She would eat her broccoli and everything.
Yeah,
Now that she's much older and
Yeah,
she's seen you, she's like, yeah, I don't want that green. Can you take green out of my food? I don't want broccoli. I'm like, oh, Lord have mercy. I wonder where you got this one from. Okay.
That's
so
true.
What I'm saying is there's more, you catch more than you can. There's more caught than taught.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Exactly. What you show
There's
them is
more
what
caught
sticks.
than taught.
Mm-hmm.
It's you can teach, yes, but they catch more of what you show.
Yeah.
Because that becomes their visual and that becomes what is registered in their mind.
Yeah.
I'm saying all that to say, give them a good visual.
Yes.
Let them see these
so
things.
Important.
Don't be like our parents who did a lot of great things, but did them behind closed doors. You follow what I'm saying? They sacrifice, but sacrifice behind closed doors.
So you don't even know.
So we didn't know.
Yeah.
Growing up, we didn't know.
Yeah.
We didn't know Daddy prayed.
Yeah.
We didn't know Daddy sacrificed. We didn't know he ever got sick. We didn't know because they didn't show us. They shielded us from those things. And now, when we are faced with those things, we don't know how to relate with our kids. But we are in a generation that will ask questions. They want to know. Yeah. And the best way to know is to show.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? So anything else?
No.
All right. I'm just going to close it on that. I just wanted to share that it was laid on my heart.
It was laid on my heart.
I'll
eat vegetables now.
You must. Amen. All right. I hope we've shared a tip or two to help solidify your kingdom union, not only with yourself, but also with others, and most importantly, with God on today.
Yes. Don't forget to make sure you share with your friends, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below. And comment. Let PY know. Let PY know you want to know that story. Comment down below.
We want to know. We want to know. Put it in the comment section. We want to know. And then I'm going to explain next episode. All right. Until next time, be the light.
Be the salt.
And remember, all things are possible if you believe. Bye. Love you.